Namaste, Swagatam, Wanakam, welcome. Welcome to Sampoorna Australia. We are so glad to have you here with us uh, uh, here at Sampoorna, a place where we want to look at complete health and wholeness. We've been learning and growing ourselves, and we just want to share that with you and invite you on a journey of wholeness, a journey of health. We know we've been doing a program called Jivan Jyoti, means the light of life. And we just want to enlighten our own lives and share that light with others as well. And so we want to invite you on that journey. We thank you that you're joining us again on YouTube live there. And look, we'd like to ask you to, write your comments. If you have any questions, you have any thoughts, we'd love to interact with you, get to know you, make friends with you, want to be encouraged by your ideas and inspired as well. And so we just want to interact with you. Would be lovely to have you with us and join us on a journey. So you can join us again and write your comments, like we said, and we'll have a number on the screen soon as well. So you can join us there as well. It's so good again to have you with us, and we're just looking forward to another program this afternoon and see how we go about fear. And so thank you again for joining us. It's been hard for us to hear over the last few weeks with dealing with restrictions here in Australia. I don't know about you guys, but we've been doing it a little bit tough, but it's been good. It's been good. And if you have any ideas of what you all are doing for isolation and doing those kinds of things that can are helping you, do share with us. We'd like to know. It'd be good for us to help each other out as well. So today we have a special program. And before we go into our special program, I just want to just to recap, I guess, what we've been doing over the last few weeks and the last couple of weeks. And so I just share my screen here and just want to share with you. Uh, Again, we've had Sampoorna Health as we've just shared this, and I'll just go to the next one. I can do that. Here we go. So yeah, the numbers on the screen here. If you like, you can please contact us on 0478 791 119. So yeah, we'll be happy to be in touch with you over there as well. And I'll do that. Of course, I just wanted to put that up there. We are not medical professionals, but we just want to journey in on health together with you. Um, the last couple of times we've given some tips. The last couple of times we dealt with fear, dealing on the physical side, dealing with fear on the mental side, and our friend Josephine was sharing of the need to identify fear and how it affects on the body mentally and how the amygdala can get hijacked. We looked at all these amazing things, how the body is designed, and so it was just very eye-opening for us. And so we just wanted to look at some of the things, the tips that we learned over the last couple of weeks, and how the fear affects the body, how sugar rushes through the blood when we are fearful, either to run away from the trouble or to fight the problem that's ahead of us. And so we looked at all different things. And so these were some of the tips that we have on your screen there. One was a couple of physical things that we could do was to breathe deeply. The other thing was to exercise 30 minutes a day. Just simple things that we could do physically that can reduce the fear, the stresses in our body. And the other thing that we talked about was how to calm ourselves down, was uh, um, an emotional thing that we can do, a mental thing that we can do, is we can talk about our troubles to our friends, someone close to us. And the other thing, especially what Josephine shared last week, was to identify our fears, to go to the point of the matter and to find out what is it that is causing those fears. And it's so important for us. So we hope you'll be able to apply those things in your last week, the last couple of weeks. And yeah, write to us how it went. If it's been helpful, if it's been useful a little bit, we'd like to know. Today we have a special guest as well, and you noticed, you know, this guest. I'm just going to stop my screen sharing right now because I don't need this. Our special guest this afternoon. His name is Charles. You've seen him before. He's given you a welcome before as well. Welcome, Charles. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I am very good. Thank you very much.
You've been
Vanakkam.
You've been well in this last week,
Yes,
surviving.
yes, of course. Keeping myself, trying to keep myself happy
Yes.
although there is lockdown and
Mm.
finding a way out. But
Yes.
yeah, trying to do the best things that can keep me fit and happy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's good to have you. Today, you are going to share a special topic. We've talked about fear and affecting us physically. We talk about fear affecting us mentally. What are you going to talk to us about today?
Um, I'm quite interested in talking to people about how fear affects our religion and religious perspective, and how it can affect us spiritually,
Mm.
um, and how we can overcome fear and build our faith spiritually. Yeah. I'm interested in spiritual life, so I'd like to talk about that.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we know about fear physically, and we hear a lot about fear mentally, but very few of us maybe have heard about fear and how it affects us spiritually. So this is a very interesting topic that you want to share with us, and I'm really interested, and I'm sure there are listeners and our viewers looking. They'll be interested in what you have to say, I guess, in this amazing area that, I mean, maybe not many of us look at. Yeah.
Yeah, it is important because uh, we all do believe in God. Uh,
Hmm.
World around has a have a God. People um, look forward to God in times of troubles and in need, especially in times like this. During pandemic and coronavirus that took the world, people are confused, don't know where to go. When human
Yeah.
help is not available, readily available, and not able to see our loved ones across the world, and this is the time people turn uh, to the spiritual, the divine, and look for answers from the divine. So I thought it'll be very useful to talk about our spiritual life and how fear can affect our spiritual life.
Yeah, and yeah, so definitely it does play a big impact on all of us. And I guess I have a couple of questions for you, and good questions. I think that people around may be thinking as well, and not that they are my questions, but good questions they are, I think. And one question that comes to mind, I guess, is God really fearful? Is he something to be afraid of? What are your thoughts?
I don't think God is really fearful, but unfortunately, um, people look at God as a fearful God. Um, See, uh, after all, God created us for a reason. God designed us for a purpose and reason. And that purpose is for God to be happy while He created us.
Mm,
How could God um, make our life miserable and make us fearful? Um, so, would God be happy if
mm,
we are unhappy? Really not, right?
mm,
So God is somebody that we can relate to, we can go to, we can depend on. Um, God should be a God who expresses His love and gratitude and sincerity to all His creations, just not human being. He created the trees and the plants and the fishes and the oceans. And He created everything, and God is the one who manages and takes care as a caretaker. So God is somebody who cares for us. God is somebody who is for our good. So I believe God cannot be someone who who makes our life miserable. He doesn't make our life scary. So He's not a fearful God. He's just a caretaking God. That's how I see God.
so what I hear you say is sometimes we are so afraid of the very one who made us for pleasure,
Yeah.
and that's a shame, I guess. And he
Yes.
wants us to be happy in his presence, but maybe sometimes we are afraid of him, and that would be a sad thing. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Absolutely, yes, because we have a father, we have a mother. When we have troubles, won't we go to our father and mother?
Of
We
course.
know, we by our own eyes, we see our parents, and we know we can go to them at any time. They are helpful. Uh, we can depend on them, right?
Definitely.
We believe that they will do good for us. And what about a God who created the entire cosmos, the sun, moon, and the stars, and the world, you
Mm,
and me, and people around? God loves varieties. God loves in different colors. God enjoys this creation.
Mm.
That God
Mm.
wants to see that we prosper and live a healthy and happy and a wonderful life on this earth. And how can I imagine a God who makes us fearful? I can't think of a God who makes our life miserable. I can't think
Mm.
of it.
Yeah, definitely. And like you were just sharing, when we have troubles, we go to our parents, and I guess we want. I think there will be this God who wants to do the same thing for us. Instead of adding fears to us, He wants us to take our fears to Him,
Yeah.
and that's a wonderful picture. That's a wonderful picture. So, what are different pictures of God in different religions, Charles?
See, this is a problem in the world. Of course, God is good. We just talked about who God is, you know.
Mm.
Um, but there are various belief systems around the world. There are different people believe in different gods, and we appreciate that. We are not against anyone. Um, according to what they believe in, they go to God and they worship God. That's fantastic. You know, we all have the perspective of God, um, which is good. You know, in a way, it is good. Instead of believing in human being, people are going to God for their life's questions. That in itself it shows their spiritual life. They depend on a God. They go to a God. That shows a spiritual life in every human being's life. But the challenge is, it's just not about going to a God. It's about, you know, what belief system you have in a particular God. Okay, so there are various religions believe in different belief system. Um, some religions look at God as a loving and wonderful and gracious and beautiful, magnificent God.
Mm.
And some religion believe is a very strict and very orderly and very gigantic ruler, a dictator. Okay, some people look at God as a strict soldier. Um, he's a head of a battalion. You know, there's a strict order that you need to follow. And
Like an
some,
army general, huh?
and our army general, of course, that's the
Mm.
right word I can say.
Mm.
Um, you just stand by the order. You know, you have nothing else to do. There is no other option. Do what I say. That's how people look at God. And some religion look at God as a very casual, very easygoing. Ah, he's our God. You know, he's my friend. He's my father. Uh, he's there for me. So what for?
Mm.
Why
Mm.
do I worry? You know, after all, I have nothing to worry in this world. My God will take care of everything. He's above in heaven. He's here with me in the corner of my house. He's in every form. You know, he's in the trees, he's in the plants, he's in the flowers, he's in the air. So people just take life very easily and they just move on. And some people look at God as a fearful God. You know, they portray God as somebody who is arrogant. You know, I've seen some gods. Some people think that if they don't obey God, God will punish them. God will kill them.
True.
And they go to God just because they fear a God. You know, if you don't do certain sacrifices, and if you don't do certain practices, the God is going to take revenge on you. So you
Mm.
got to do it by so and so time. You see, in 3 months or so, if you don't fulfill certain things for a certain God, and the Lord is going to take revenge. So better do it. If not, God will take revenge.
Mm.
So
Mm.
they see God as a revengeful, fearful, arrogant God. And as I said, there are people who believe in God as a supreme and almighty and powerful God. There are people who look God as a very strict disciplinarian, and some people look at God as a very easy, casual. Oh, he's after all our God, so what? You know, there are different ways in which how people and different religions look at God.
So as we're looking at this God in different ways, how does, if we are afraid of this God or supreme being or something like that, how does it affect us, our spiritual life? How does it affect us? How does it affect our lives? In what ways does it? Maybe our belief systems. How does that work?
See, this is a very interesting topic for human being, and also it's a very complicated topic. Okay, um, people believe in different system. Okay, so every belief system has a value in it. For
Mm-hmm.
example, in some religions, um, as I said, Um, they worship God just because they fear. Just because they worship, they fear a God, they have to go to a God. But actually, the truth is, it's just not about going to a God because you fear Him. Of course, there is an element of fear in every religion. Be it any religion in the world, there is an element of fear. There are no answers. Some religions have answers for those fears, and some religions don't. And the only thing that everybody had to find out is what you believe in is right or wrong. Okay, our mind should be able to think that what I believe in, what I where I go to, is it right or wrong? That's what they have to decide. For every religion has some strong connection between the religion and fear. Fear is generally called phobias, right? So it is
Yeah.
not very well understood, but to some extent, there is some clarity in some of the writings of some of our great priests and monks and some religious leaders, who experienced God in different levels. Um, in every religion, there is fear of death, isn't it? Regardless of which God you believe in, regardless of which religion you belong to, there is fear of death in every religion. So that cannot be avoided. Okay? But there is also an answer to these questions. So regardless of which God you believe in, you're going to die anyway one day. So there is a fear of death
Mm.
at home, personally, when you go out, when you mingle with people, you think of accidents, you think of natural calamity. Death can come in any fashion. We don't know. So regardless of which religion you belong to, the fear of death, that's called the death phobia, is evident in every religion. But do we find an answer to death? That's the question. That's called the value. Some religion talk about death as uh, as a blessing. Some religion talk death as a curse, and some religion talk death as something that happened unusually to someone that should not have happened. Some believe there is life after death. Okay, and in a way, it's true when you dig deep down into religion.
Mm.
God could have not created us just for us to die on this earth. You see,
Mm.
uh, this world is just a place for God to make and create each one of us to enjoy. But God also says this world is not permanent. There is life after this world. So there is a better place that we can belong to.
Mm.
Um, it's all about faith, building faith in what value that you believe in. If you think that this life is over by this earth and there is no life after, and God has nothing to do with our life, and we die of no faith.
Mm.
See, yeah.
And so I was just wondering, as you're saying, how would we overcome this fear maybe, and build this faith, and improve maybe our spiritual lives? Is there anything that we could do?
Yes, definitely. See, um, I read through some of those very interesting religious writings. Okay, but it's up to you what you take it, whether you believe it or not. I believe in some of those very useful, meaningful writings. There are some religious writers who write like this: when there is fear in a religion, that's a false religion. Okay,
Oh, okay, okay.
when there is fear in a religion, that's a false religion. There are reasonable fear. I mean, fear of death. We understand that's yeah, that's usual. When somebody dies, we cry, we weep over them because we miss them. But religion addresses even our death. Death is not final. We
Mm.
can overcome death, and there is life after. Now, God takes care of our loved ones, and we're going to have a life after, a better life than this. And there are some religions who believe in that. So, what it means, even in certain religions, when there is fear, and that fear is addressed by a better hope, you see, and
Yes.
we believe in a better life.
Mm.
But there are religions which do not have this hope for people. That's where the problem is. I do not know if people don't understand or don't haven't been taught, or they don't know the truth of a better life other than this life. But generally, it is said that if we follow a religion that only talks about fear, 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 then that should be a false religion.
mm, mm,
Okay? And how it affects our spiritual life. If you allow me to say a few words, I'm willing to say. First of all, fear affects our spiritual life in many ways. Number one, we will have no joy living in this world because
mm,
why are we living after all in this world? To be happy and be joyful, right? And that's the purpose of God creating us in this world itself. But if we live in fear, how can we be happy? So our faith in God diminishes. We can't
mm,
believe in God.
mm,
So our basic um, reason why we are created in this world in itself is vanished. So when we have fear, we cannot be happy. Okay, that's one.
mm,
Number two, when we have fear, we don't have any aspirations, no motivation, no encouragement to do something better in our life. Uh, we don't have goals in our life. We have nothing much to achieve in our life because we are put in a small nutshell, and we don't think beyond the box.
mm, mm,
You see, there is no motivation to do a better thing than who we are. That's the problem of the world today. You travel around the world and see, if you study the world history, our world culture, you'll see that some group of people have I mean, they have explored and enjoyed the world, and some did not. Some they stay within where they are. The reason is because of their belief system in God, and they're very fearful to come out of the egg that they're in. So fear actually puts you down. Okay,
mm,
you
mm,
stay in a nutshell. You don't break the egg and come out as a flying color. God created us that we may fly high and make a joyful life in this world. And
mm,
there is no motivation, and there is no encouragement when we have fear. The next thing is, there is no fulfillment in life. You are not satisfied with life if you don't believe in a God, or if you have fear. We have to be satisfied with this life, right?
mm,
We are born with a purpose.
mm.
Imagine I'm born and I do nothing. I don't achieve anything. I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. That's because of fear.
Mm, mm.
So fear has many factors how it can affect our spiritual life. And the next thing is, it creates unbelief in everything.
What do you mean?
I mean that if you're not able to believe in a God, and if you're not able to be happy with a God, if you're not hopeful about your life, whatever you see in this world, you'll see that object or subject or a person as someone who is against you.
Mm.
Okay, so you generally, basically, tend to believe everything is not right in this world.
So
There's
you're saying that maybe we can be thinking we are all alone and everything is against us even.
Yes, that's the danger of human being. We are not created to be like that. We are
Mm, mm,
created to enjoy this world. We are created to make friendship. We are a social animal.
mm, mm,
We are a social animal. We are created to enjoy this world and meet with people and make friends and meet relatives and families. Why there are issues and problems in family? Because of the spiritual fear.
mm,
If
mm,
people
mm.
may go to a religious center for worship, they can still be fearful. A religious center cannot make difference in their life. It can be
Mm,
any religious center.
mm, mm.
That will make no difference in their life. There are thousands and millions of people going to a religious center, isn't it? But they're
Yeah.
still fearful, and they are not coming out as flying colors in their life. Why? Because of their value. They don't have a value for their life to believe in a true God.
Mm,
And they don't understand the purpose of a God, and they don't understand the purpose of themselves, why they are created, and they really live a life just like a frog in the well.
mm, mm.
Yeah, and yeah,
Yep. Go ahead.
and um, see, fear brings only doubt and perplexities and depression. you're always very annoyed about your life, you see. So you can't
Mm.
see a brighter light in your life. You're always worried about life, and it brings no relief to our life. It only adds more and more. So fear has so many factors how it can affect our life.
Yeah, very enlightening, Charles. So, didn't think of some of these effects that spiritually have fearing a God, or being afraid of this person, this being, how it affects us in so many different ways. Not even having a motivation to get out of the box, to step outside, to try something else. And yeah, I think I've not thought of that before, but surely I think some of the people who are watching here would resonate and would make sense to them as well. And I think, yeah, if you'd like to share with us your experiences, your comments, we'd love to hear it there in the comments box. Share with us, like and share what you'd like us to know. And if there are any topics as well that you'd like Charles or Josephine or the others of our team to share, please write into us. But before we go, Charles, as you've been sharing about how is if God is really fearful and we've said no, and He designed us for happiness and He's like a parent to us, and you were sharing those things, and how does if one is afraid of God, how it affects us. We were just looking at that. Is there any tip, any spiritual tip maybe that you can give us, that can help any one of us uh, in this area of our life?
Yes, definitely, and that's why we are here for. We talked about the issues, the problems of fear, how it can affect our spiritual life. I'm sure God has not let us only with questions.
Mm,
God has answers to all the questions, right? And that's
yes.
the very purpose of God creating us. So, number one, how to overcome fear and build a better spiritual life. And that makes your home beautiful. It makes the society and the world beautiful, isn't it? And you are beautiful. And each one of us can be beautiful in this world,
Mm,
and live a life that's very pleasant and safe for our own self and for others.
mm,
Number one, to overcome fear is to replace fear with trust.
mm,
Trust in what? That's another question. Then the first priority is to trust God fully. Okay, I already told it's not about going to a religious center. It's not about belonging to a religion. It's about having a value system. That's a belief system.
mm,
We got to think wisely and see. God has given us brain to think, right? So
mm,
we got to think what I believe in is right or wrong.
mm, mm.
Okay, so what value does it have in what I believe?
Yes.
Does the religion make me happy? Does the religion or the God whom I worship, uh, does that God really serve me? Okay, is a God so loving to me?
Mm,
Is a God uh, a serving God? What are some of those value system? That's very important. Okay, when we fail in when we fail to understand the values of a true God, there is misbelief and fear in life. So we need to learn to trust. But
okay.
before trusting, it's very hard to trust anything or anyone. We need to sit down and write down, or probably take time to meditate and see what is right and wrong, which God is, or which religion, or which value is better.
Mm,
Okay. Of course, it's a complicated subject, as I said.
yes.
But when you depend on God, when you trust in God, God is going to enlighten your life.
Excellent.
Trust comes only by love.
Mm,
You simply cannot trust someone, right?
yep.
It takes time.
It takes time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Trust comes only by finding love. One of the tips to overcome fear is to experience love. For example,
Mm,
will you go to your father if your father doesn't love you?
mm,
No.
not really. No.
You go to your father when, even if you had done mistake, you had you've been a worst child. The society treats you as a worst child. You go to your father, and your father takes a stick and beats and kicks you away out of the house. Will you be able to trust your father?
It's very
No.
difficult.
Now, we all are in the same state. The whole world is in the same state.
Mm,
But we are able to go to our parents because we believe that our parents will accept us no matter what.
mm, mm.
That is God.
Yes, a lovely
Okay.
image, huh? Lovely image.
That is God. Okay. So to experience the love of God fully, okay, that will take away fear. One of the religious writer writes like this: perfect love casteth away fear.
Mm,
To experience the love of God, we need to have perfect love. And when families and the society and friends, and no matter where we are, if we are not able to love each other and accept each other's fault and forgive,
mm,
there is fear. We can't trust other, and then it's an added fear. That's the
mm,
problem of each one of us. But many religion has a good tool to overcome fear.
mm,
One is replace fear with trust. How to build the trust? Trust can be built by finding a perfect love.
mm,
Okay, and he says God doesn't scare us. God only loves us. So if we have that love of God in every heart, we will
mm,
not scare anybody. We'll make life beautiful for everyone,
mm, mm.
and people will enjoy this world, and this earth will be a place where people will have a wonderful life. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you. That's very practical, very useful for all of us, and I think a good picture as well, like our parents loving us in spite of whatever we do, unconditionally, and to see that love from a God, really will help us in building that trust and casting away the fear and replacing it with love. So important. We were talking earlier also about maybe other thing and something else that we could do maybe for spiritually that can help us, something to do with music. Maybe would you like to share that with us, Charles?
Yes, I am very glad to share because I myself I am a lyricist. I'm a musician. I love music.
Mm,
Okay. See, spiritual life and music has a very close connection.
mm,
One of the best ways to build our spiritual life is to practice music and listen to music. Listen to this divine music and enjoy the divinity in music. There are very wonderful classical instruments
mm,
available. Uh, at the same time, there are music that is very hard to listen to. You know, that will break our brain, and we can't even hear some of this music, which is very harsh. We don't have to listen to those music. And
mm,
there are some lyrics which are very probably I don't want to use the word harsh, but not pleasing
mm,
to listen.
mm,
Let's avoid some lyrics like that, and some music, some tunes that may irritate our brain. Avoid those music, but take time music that'll bring meditation, silence, and can calm your brain, and that'll connect you to the divine. There are wonderful musics. Find those musics and listen to them, and I'm sure that can build a connection between you and the divine. And I do that very often. I
mm,
go alone, I sit and meditate. Sometimes I write lyrics about God, how wonderful
mm,
God is.
mm, mm.
I look at the nature and see, wow, what an awesome God. He created beautifully such a lovely flower. I ask
Yeah.
God, how did you create this, Lord?
Mm,
Meditating, isn't it?
yes,
Meditation is important, and listening to music is very interesting, and it's good
helpful.
to build a spiritual life.
Wow, yeah, excellent. Yes, I know you love music. I know Josephine too. Both of you are gifted and you love music and love to share the blessings of music with others as well. And it's really lovely. And yeah, so a couple of things that I guess for tips that I want to remind again our viewers is the first one that Charles said was to experience true love, and that perfect love will cast away fear, and that trust that has to be developed and built amongst all of us. So that's so important, and I'll encourage you as you're watching here. Please, build those relationships. Make sure that your relationships are filled with love and not fear, and love will automatically cast away the fear. And then the other thing we could, like Charles just said, is to meditate and listen to good. Uh, what kind of music did you say? How would I say
Some
that in a couple of
classical,
words?
some classical
Classical.
meditational divine music.
That's it. Thank you. So yeah, we can do those things during this week. That would be excellent. And let us know how it's been, how that has helped you. And next week we'll come again and we'll discuss a few other things. Thank you, Charles. Thank you for those excellent thoughts, some eye-opening thoughts that I've not thought of before. Thank you for sharing with us. You have any last words to say before we close our time together?
Yes, I thank you and thank the team for giving me this opportunity to share.
Hmm.
And I'm sure this presentation would be a blessing and an eye opener, as you said. It might help many people around the world. Anybody who watches our YouTube channel, I'm sure that's going to turn them, um, turn their life a better life. And I
Hmm.
wish that will happen to each one of you. And I'm privileged that I'm able to share this with the viewers and with you and our friends.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Charles. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us on YouTube. Again, please like, subscribe, share if you found this useful. Join us again next week, same time, 3 o'clock. We'll do another topic on fear once again. And yeah, we'd like to see you back then. In the meantime, we hope you have a good week. We pray you have a good week as well. Until next time, all the best.